Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and this is a video about the Libra Full Moon of 2020. Um, that occurred on April 7th, 2020 at 10:35 p.m. If you're on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please use a time zone converter to find this new moon, full moon, I should say, in your time zone. This full moon comes as part of a pair. It's associated with the Aries new moon that happened 14 days ago. Um, and it's just it's part of a larger system and a larger cycle and a larger conversation that we're all having. Um, let's get into how the overall energies are set up, because there's a lot of contrast here, a lot of polarization, a lot of either or as opposed to both and at this time. And there's some good reason for it. There's a lot of exposure of truth going on, despite how confusing things have been with Mercury's extended stay here in the sign of Pisces. And it has made things confusing and unclear and facts and details hidden from view, because Pisces is the sign of the unseen world. So it has placed factual, truthful, straightforward communication in the realm of the unseen. It's placed it outside of the 3D world. Thankfully, Mercury is going to get into Aries soon, and that's going to shift, thank God. But as of right now, we're just wrapping up the tail end of a 2-month kind of, I don't even know what to call this, where there's just been so much chaos in the realm of the mind. So let's kind of look at how we've got this energy for this full moon set up. We've got the moon here. There she is at the 18th degree of Libra. She's sort of conjunct Juno, the partnership asteroid in mundane astrology. But the partnership asteroid is moving retrograde as opposed to forward. And the retrograde motion of the partnership asteroid in the partnership sign means that her attention isn't on partnering very much. It could be on partnering a lot more, and it will be when she goes direct. But the focus is more so on our own side of the street at this time. What do we need to do? What's going on with us in our connections? She's also sitting opposite Eris, and this is Eris right here, who's conjunct the sun. And Eris, in the mythology, she's known as strife, she's known as discord, she's known as disharmony. And with Eris sitting so close to the sun, and Eris she's gonna play a key role this year for all of us, and especially for cardinal signs and fire signs. I was thinking about doing a special video about this because Eris's energy this year is, she's not to be ignored. She's an energy that will be dealt with come hell or high water this year. And Eris conjunct the sun is really illuminating our shadow, but it's specifically the shadow that comes out when we feel disenfranchised, not given a seat at the table, rejected, shortchanged, somehow compromised by the circumstances that other people have put us in. It's a bit of a victim energy, but rightfully so. She's part of, the constellation of the Greek gods and goddesses, and she's part of the pantheon because her energy is needed. We need to know sometimes when people have run over our toes The question is about what we do with it. Do we cause chaos? Sometimes a little chaos is needed to get to clarity. Do we create strife? Well, sometimes we need to fight for what's ours. The question is about timing. The question is about order. Is it happening at the right time? Is it happening in the right order? These are questions that we're going to be faced with this year because the Eris energy of this year is strong, because Eris is going to be square this year, the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction all year, which we're going to get into in a moment. But this is a really big deal energy for the cardinal signs, who are the leaders of the zodiac. They're the initiators of new beginnings of every season. A cardinal sign leads off every season. So the cardinal signs are really going to feel a lot of this energy and need to deal with this energy a lot this year. But so too will all of the fire signs, because Aries is both a fire sign, it is a cardinal energy, so it's going to speak most directly to the cardinal and fire signs, okay? But because we've got this, Sun conjunct Eris, facing that shadow that comes out when we've been shortchanged, and this energy, like I said, excuse me, is square this Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, which is also forcing us to confront our shadows. The grand rewrite is here, folks. We're being asked to decide what kind of path we're on, what kind of people we are, what kind of energy we are going to co-sign with our choices and with our non-choices, because non-choosing is also a choice, especially in a moment like right now. There's really not a middle ground here to stand on with this giant T-square energy at this full moon. So we're being asked how we want to write what comes after an ego death, which is what the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction is here in Capricorn. It's a gigantic ego death. It's a shitty hand, and we're being asked how we're going to play it. You can't ask the dealer to reshuffle. You got to play the hand you got at this point, both collectively and individually. We're being asked this question. So altogether, this T-square energy is spelling out a polarization in the collective and around us. And polarization really means things sat at opposite sides, not on the spectrum, not in the middle, but things at opposing sides. And this really is choosing. This is about choice. Almost as the waters part and reveal that there's not really a middle ground, you got to choose where you're going to swim. This is a difficult time to play Switzerland, to be neutral, and be both and. It's a difficult time to say, oh, I don't have an opinion, or oh, I'm not sure, or I'll just stand on both sides. I'll do a little of this over here and a little of that over there and just see how it goes. This is one of those moments when we're asked to step out of the shadows about the truth of how we feel, who we are, and what we want. In particular, in our relationships, that's that Libra energy. At work, that's that Capricorn energy. And in ourselves, here's that Aries energy. This is one of those moments when we're asked to step out of the shadows and stand in the light of the truth about how we feel, who we are, and what we want in those areas of life. It's a moment when we're asked to stand up for ourselves and to decide to rise. And that kind of reminds me of a piece of prose that I want to share with you at the end of this video called Decide to Rise by author and inspirational speaker Danielle Laporte. She's incredible. If you don't know her, definitely check it out. I will share this with you, but I also link it below the video. During the course of this full moon energy, so that's the overarching energy, is a call to all of us to rise, to become best self. But there are some challenges with that we're facing. And so there is a bit of a grand trine in air signs going on at the Libra full moon. You know, divine, there's just no accidents in this universe. Sometimes there are not some great choices, but there's really no accidents. And this is an air full moon. Now we've got this air grand trine at the time of this full moon. And a grand trine is just when we've got planetary energies sitting in all three of the signs of the same element. So we've got planetary energies sitting over here in Libra, which we talked about. The one we're going to discuss more specifically for this grand trine is Makemake, the shaman's asteroid here. We've also got Venus conjunct Vesta here in Gemini, the sign of communication. This is partnership, that's communication and the mind. And then down here in Aquarius, we've got Saturn and Mars. Yeah, these are some interesting energies because normally in a grand trine, these energies want to play together. They want to work harmoniously. They want to operate in a way that collaborates and gives us the best of them. And so that energy is definitely here. In a normal grand trine circumstance, what we have going on is, you know, this particular combination of energies gives us, you know, a real opportunity to communicate clearly about who we are, what we want, our boundaries, and be very dedicated to carving out a new path forward with the people who matter most to us in our lives. So that energy is definitely here, but the complications to that energy, you know, the Venus conjunct Vesta in Gemini here, it wants to choose dedication to love, dedication to higher vibrations, really wants that. But it is, you know, kind of sitting in this way that is, hang on one second. Let me make sure I have this right. It's sitting in conjunct this South Node conjunct Pholus energy here. And the in conjuncts don't work well together. These are energies that don't mesh. And so this in conjunction is causing us to also remember all those times that we got wounded for sticking our neck out for love in the past, both this past lifetime and others. So Venus and Vesta, you know, they're like, should I stand for love? Should I remember all the times that I got hurt doing that in the past? Then there's Makemake in Libra up here, holding down the fort at that final retrograde point, the 5th degree of Libra that Juno's going to land at before she goes direct. Makemake in Libra wants to express the hard-won lessons of partnership and begin to implement them now. Makemake in Libra recognizes, you know, this is not my first rodeo. I've been down this road before. I know what to do in relationships to make them work, but yet at the same time, it's opposite. This energy down here of Chiron and Lilith conjunct in the sign of the self, Aries. And there's a real recognition of the things we've done in the past that have brought about our own wounding in relationships that we're unwilling to do anymore. And so it's like, okay, well, do I collaborate based on everything I've learned before? Or do I trust the wounding in the ways that I've hurt myself in relationships and recognize, maybe that's the path to self-sabotage and get out while I can? Then there's Mars and Saturn conjunct here in Aquarius. Yeah, and they're square Uranus and Taurus here. This is a 90-degree angle. Uranus and Taurus, and then this Saturn and Mars. And man, if squares to Uranus aren't complicated enough by themselves, but yikes, Saturn and Mars, which are already, it takes a lot to get the best out of a Saturn-Mars energy, because they can sometimes bring out the worst in each other, a bit of aggression and rigidity. But the opportunity is also there where, when you look at this two energies combined, this is a matter of recognizing that if we love something, we might need to let it go at this time so that we can have it transform now into something better than what it was previously and have it at a higher level in the future. There's so much, at least in the US, I see other workforces and economies playing this shitty hand, very differently in other countries. But, in the US, we're seeing a lot of job layoffs, a lot of furloughing of employees. And I'm sure this was a tough decision for your employers. They didn't want to have that conversation with you. They didn't want to have to do that. They took no pleasure in shrinking their workforce because that means they have to make less money. But this is that kind of bold decision to say, if I love this, I'm going to have to let certain things go, sacrifice certain things, put them on the altar for the divine to transform, so that on the other side, somehow, some way, this can be different. I don't have another choice here. That Mars conjunct Saturn piece really wants to do the right thing for the sake of evolution and growth here. But the square to Uranus, and Uranus is trine Pholus out here. Whew, it's tough. There's a pull to act out because of our wounding and impatience to heal, or a call to act out because of the ways that maybe we've seen this wound one too many times. And so to be so frustrated that nothing has gone our way, that sometimes with this energy, we can lash out in the physical world in a way that may harm our self-esteem, because that's not who we want to be, or in relationships that we really need to keep intact right now, given the direness of our situations. So as much as these air energies want to play nice, each of them is being tugged on by older wounds, older challenges that need to get laid to rest in order to be able to rise and become that best version of ourselves. I get it. This is really, how do we talk to others and reach out in a moment when we feel so crippled by our own issues and surrounded by our own loss? How do we work collaboratively with other people when it's so clear that we're struggling ourselves? How do we have boundaries and go after our own dreams at a time when it's so clear we most need to share our energies and resources, and these could potentially take away from us building that future we wanted so bad? In a year where we really can't get through this any other way but together, this isn't easy. This is not easy, and there are no easy choices, not for anyone. No easy choices. But this is the work of 2020. Because this energy, this Jupiter-Pluto thing that's going on down here, this is in effect all year long. For some of us, there are phone calls that we recognize we need to pony up and make them. There's conversations that need to be had, forgiveness we need to create. And these are conversations that this time and our hearts are really demanding that we have in order to truly be who we say we are. And for others, there's apologies that we need to offer. There's truths that we need to tell and choices that we have to make if we're going to come out on the other side, not being fully crippled by what's going on with the virus and the global economy and in our communities as a result. Heavy energies. Make no bones about it. This is hard. There is not one person that you can point to that somehow just got this easy. Nobody does. So if you want to take time to look at how this plays out in your chart over the course of 2020, let's go ahead and do a personal session. There's a handful of spots left for the end of April. These sessions can help you understand the complex energy you're facing and help you see how to get out of your own way a bit. Just shoot me an email at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com, and we can get you set up. Be sure to check your spam or promotions folder if you don't see it right away, because that autoresponder can sometimes end up there for folks. It'll have everything you need to go ahead and reserve a session. And as soon as you've made your payment, we can schedule our time together, okay? So just to get into this a little deeper here, this energy here is forcing us all to kind of look at our wounds truthfully and honestly. How did we come to be the human beings that we are today? That's kind of the question we're getting asked. The reality is, it's just not possible to keep pretending anymore that what happened was okay, that what was said was no big deal, that someone's hurt feelings didn't matter, that we can make it up some other time, some other day, some other way with someone else. We got to dance with the people we came with at this point. We really have to dig into the relationships and the connections we have, because it's our bodies and our relationships that tether us to this earth. And the planetary energies are exposing the consequences of having not taken care of them, both now, in stark and painful terms, individually and collectively. And some of this is not only about how we've not taken care of our other people in our connections. Some of this is about how we've not taken care of ourselves in our connections, how we've not come to our own rescue, how someone else abandoned us and then we abandoned us. Because the reality is, we really can't replace this body once it gives out. We can't run from ourselves when we're in quarantine and lockdown. And that person that we thought we could just forget or walk away from, or that we acted that way with, we think we can just assume someone else knows that we didn't mean it, that we didn't intend to hurt them without saying it. We can't. It's not possible. If You are the one that shut the door. Only you can open it. If you lashed out, only you can make that right with someone else. If you abandoned yourself, nobody else can come save you. Not right now. If you created confusion, only you can bring clarity. And at this point, our lives are dependent on it. We need each other now more than ever. We need ourselves now more than ever. The real work of our ascension, it has to be done in the 3D world, not the 5D world alone. To bring healing to our 3D world circumstances, we have to do it. We can't keep playing like as long as it's all good on the 5D, as long as I'm sorry in my heart, that the 3D doesn't matter, that it'll just follow along, that other people just magically know. Words have to be spoken. Choices have to be made with your mouth on your phone, in writing, in your email, at that store, in your car, with your money, with your friends, family, loved ones. Today, we have to take that stand now. I can't overemphasize that enough. So there's one more energy at play here that's actually really exciting and supporting us while we do that at the time of this full moon. And that's the creation goddess here. Her name is Haumea. She's the Hawaiian creation goddess, conjunct the earth in the sign here of Libra, which is partnership. And so I'm so pumped about this because just as it seems everything around us is crumbling, we're given this beautiful conjunction of our planet, which is like the planet of free will, the planet of manifestation, conjunct the creation goddess, Haumea, who from nothing created everything on the planet. And we're seeing that spirit of creativity and that spirit of manifesting something out of nothing all over the internet right now, with people who are creating ways to connect with their neighbors, share food, inspire, create music and dance, create and supply masks all over the world. And this is going to continue, thank God. We will see even more of this as time comes forward from here. This energy is also square that Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, okay? So we know from trines and sextiles, we get harmonious energy, things that flow. From squares and oppositions, we get conflict, we get shadow work, we get tension and motivation. This square in particular is asking us to look at, because Palace is involved as well, that which we need to protect in the midst of so much loss, that which we can't afford to lose. And when we have nothing else to lose, that's when you see that spirit of creativity and ingenuity really come forward. When we've got nothing left to lose, that's when you see true risk and real reward start to be born. This little energy here is also, let's just see, let me make sure I have this right. Right. Okay. So this energy, the Jupiter-Pluto Palace conjunction here, is also sextile this Neptune Mercury situation here. And yeah, harmonious energy there flowing into this square from Neptune and Mercury. Mercury and Neptune are not an energy I love together. It's just too easy to slip into the world of illusion and then delusion. But in this case, because this earth energy is speaking so harmoniously with it, there's an ask that the universe is making of us. And the ask is about getting conscious, about the spiritual truths of this moment, to open our eyes to the wonder and the joy and the gift of being a direct reflection of the Creator, able to call it out of the ether and into the world. There is pure magic in the air in this moment if we're willing to apply a little bit of imagination here and a little bit of hard work and a little bit of creativity with others. There is magic that can be created in this moment in time. Absolute, blow your mind, change humanity, growth, and magic. And I love that. I'm very excited about that. It can be very easy to get lost in a place of despair with this energy, but again, this is a moment of choice. Where are you placing your energy, your mind, your attention as an amplifier? Because you're created in the image of the divine, as someone that powerful. What are you putting in to your mind to amplify at this time? Fear or love? Apathy or love? Connection or chaos and separation? We have a choice, but we have to make that choice now. Yeah, if you want to take a look at how your chart is really asking you to leverage this moment for your growth and expansion, let me know. Let's have a look at it. You can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com to get that reading. The autoresponder will come to you first. Just be sure to double check that promotions folder if you don't see it. It'll have all of the booking details you need to set up a session, and as soon as you've paid, we can get you scheduled. The videos of people finding ways to come together across the internet or over distances, it's just so mind-blowing and so inspiring at this moment. Um, and the messages that have come through in previous full moons, that there is no one coming to save us but us, we're really seeing that start to come forward as people take the time at this moment to think, how can I stand in service instead of believing somehow in my own enslavement? How can I stand up for connection instead of somehow believing that lockdown means I'm locked away? This is happening all over the internet, and these videos are out there. These news stories are out there. If you're struggling with discouragement at this time, find them, choose it. The choice has to be made with our hands and with our minds. It's just so inspiring. There are hundreds of distilleries across the United States who have stopped production of liquor and alcohol at this time to instead begin producing hand sanitizer after stores started to run out of their supply. There are nurses and doctors who are taking to the internet to inform their communities about how to properly use gloves, wear masks, wash hands, social distance, in addition to everything they're already doing every day. There are so many DJs and musical artists who are going out of their way to produce music for free on the internet, and comedians who are now filming at home to provide the levity that we so desperately need right now. There is so much to be grateful for and inspired by. In so many ways, people are going out of their way to create and to be connected when they could choose to do otherwise. The question is, what's your choice? Who are you going to be in this moment of truth? Decide to Rise by Danielle Laporte. Push. Turn up the volume. Go hard. Go harder. Reprioritize your aches and pains. Infuse your sensitivities with courage. Tell fear to fuck right the fuck off. Devote yourself to done. There are soul justified reasons to cancel. There are times to just stop. This isn't one of them. Keep going. Show up. Full on, full tilt, full out. Decide to be one of those people who pull it off. Do what you say you're going to do. Don't let us down. Decide to rise. Why decide to rise? Not for the reasons you might think. In fact, there are reasons that will make you sick and tired. Do not rise out of obligation. Do not rise because of fears or consequences. Do not rise because you think being tough makes you smarter. It doesn't. Decide to rise because you want to expand your being, your life, your possibilities. Decide to rise because superpowers are meant to be activated and applied in everyday life. Decide to rise to explore your place in the universe. On the other side of deciding to rise is illumination, ecstasy, insight. And the angel of your strength is there waiting, smiling, applauding with a goblet of endorphins for you. Drink up. When you transcend circumstances, you get special privileges. You get evidence that you are indeed amazing and irrefutable proof that your heart and mind choose what matters. And you get the deep knowing that life wants you to win. Decide to rise. Lean in. Listen up closely. It's your soul speaking, and she says, get up. I need you. I want you. I am you. Choose me. Lean in. Listen up closely. Decide to rise. You can find the link to that piece by Danielle Laporte in the first pinned comment below. Beautiful piece of prose. And if you'd like to look at how all of this breaks down in your chart according to your personal planets and houses, shoot me that email. We'll get you set up. Thank you so much for listening, liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing. I look forward to seeing how all of this resonates in the comments for you. Take great care, and bye for now.